Hi, this is Randy again, and we're at part 2 of how to prepare an ESXi server to run macOS. Again, non-supported, and we mentioned all that in part 1 of the video. So in part 2, what I wanted to do is I want to take an extra minute or two to talk about this odd error about you can't have the UEFI secure boot option enabled in order to get the script to run. So the first error that you'll see, and again, learn this the hard way, had some help with this. We've had some help on the ESXi forum. We've had some help from the GitHub people, and it was a tough one to figure out. But here's the error that you see. If you have UEFI BIOS configured on your server that you're running ESXi on, and you go to run the script, I've underlined it here in yellow. You can see it. It tells you that operation not permitted, and that you'd think that'd be a pretty straightforward error to troubleshoot, but it turns out it's fairly indirect, and the indirect error is a BIOS issue, a secure boot. Anyways, let me see if I can find the other file here. Okay, here it is. All right. So this is actually the BIOS screen. We're using some Dell Optiplexes as servers in our training here. And this is actually the error message when ESXi goes to boot. If you have secure boot enabled, in other words, we kind of forced the patch to run. Again, weird, but I wasn't really comfortable with it, but it was part of the troubleshooting process. We forced the patch to run, and we get this error message here telling us a secure boot failed, and it's specifically saying that the unlocker.tgz file was unrecognizable, and secure boot kind of locks the bootloader of an operating system. So I just wanted you to see these, only because I guess we took a long time in trying to figure out what was wrong. The message that we're looking for, not an error message, but the actual success message, is this screen right here. You go to run the unlocker using the command shown in the README file, and you get an install success, and it tells you to go ahead and restart it, and that's what we're after. So let's see if we can get that to happen. So we'll move this out of the way. We'll bring up PuTTY. Oh, we're there. All right, we must have got there in our last video. So we do an ls-l. Okay, let me bring up the command here that I need to run. There it is. It's kind of a long one. So what I'm going to, let me make this a little wider here. So what I need to do is I need to execute, or I need to do tar x xzvf and then the name of the file. Okay, all right. So what we did there was we uncompressed it. You can see the files listed there. The README file is there also. And there's actually fewer files there than what we saw on the one GitHub site, but the other files are in the unlocker.tgz file. Now one thing we got to do here is we're going to do an ls-l, and we're looking to see if those .sh is for script, to see if they're executable. In Linux, Unix, executables are marked as green, and these are. If they weren't, which is, again, been doing this a couple years now. In years gone by, we would have to run a command called a chmod, C-H-M-O-D command, and make those executable. We would do chmod plus x, and then the name of all three of those files. So one of the files is to install the patch. The other one is to uninstall the patch, and then the SMC test is to test that the patch was successful. Now, if you're like us here, where we're doing this, and if it's for training purposes, as you do updates to ESXi, you want to uninstall this patch, do your update, and then reinstall the patch. That's the correct way to move forward. Okay. So what we want to do now is we want to execute the ESXi-install.sh, and so to do that in Linux Unix, // in the directory where the patch exists, ESXi-install, and I can use the tab key to autocomplete. Okay, so everything was great. We got this is again where the error occurs. If you have secure boot enabled, you get things don't work, but it tells us now to restart. So I'm going to pause the video and I'm going to restart, and when I restart, I'm going to come back into the same area here. So when I restart, I'll re-enable SSH. I'll use PuTTY to come back in, and then we'll run the command to test that the patch was successfully applied. But this is a good indicator right here. You can see we got success. Please reboot your server. So to do that, we just do a reboot. All right, I'll pause the video now. All right, so we've rebooted the server, and I've re-enabled SSH. You don't normally leave SSH enabled, so I've re-enabled it. I've then reestablished, or I'm getting ready to reestablish my PuTTY session, my SSH session. So go ahead and log in. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to navigate into that same directory. So change directory to vmfs, do ls, change directory to volumes, ls, change directory to data store 1, and change directory to the tools directory. Okay, let's do the ls-l listing again here. All right, so what we're doing here now is we want to run the, let me make this bigger here. We want to run the script that would verify that the patch was successfully installed. Okay, and that is this one right here. All right, and again, from the directory where the patch exists in Linux, Unix, you do a // and then the name of the executable, ESXi-smc.test. All right, it takes it a minute, but what we're looking for is a success message. There we go. Okay, don't let that fool you. This is what we're after right here. SMC present equals true. So SMC, I don't know exactly what they're getting at here. That's an acronym for something. Okay, just sharing with you, like, because this is for students, and some of you might ask, what does SMC stand for? And I don't know what it stands for in regards to this patch. There's something that happens to ESXi at the root of it that secure boot faults on. So we've made a major change in the OS in ESXi. All right, so this video is getting a little bit long. We're at 7 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up, and I want to follow up with another video where we go through the basics of installing macOS. It installs like almost any other virtual, but for all of us who are primarily from Windows background, and because of what we're doing here, there is a little bit of a gotcha in getting the install started. So I'll wrap this one up. We'll come back with another video where we work through the initial starting of the installation for macOS.